Welcome to the Pearls of Wisdom podcast, where we mix business, law of attraction, spirituality, and well-being with great guests and phenomenal stories. You'll hear hints, tips, and up-to-the-minute information on digital communication from an expert in her field. Pearl has some wonderful individuals in her networks, and she will be interviewing them all at some point in the future. Enjoy your listening.
Hello and welcome to the Pearls of Wisdom podcast. And once again, it is my absolute pleasure to be introducing you to a wonderful, wonderful lady that's going to be an exhibitor at the Pearls of Wisdom virtual online retreat that will be covering business, spirituality and well-being. And so there's loads and loads of ways that you can connect with this wonderful lady. She has so much knowledge to share. So without further ado, I will introduce you to Sue Winsbury, the Energy Queen, and an all-round fantastic lady. There's so much this lady knows. Welcome, Sue.
Thank you. What a lovely introduction.
It is. I know we've been in similar circles, but it's nice to actually get the chance to talk to each other. And I know with the work you do, it's going to be of so much interest to the listeners and to the audience members when they actually attend the retreat, because there's so many different ways that you can help us. So with that, I'm going to ask you first, what will you be offering to the attendees at the retreat? What is your fantastic area of expertise? I know that you cover so many things, but can you, in as much as possible, share, just give an oversight of what people can look forward to when they come to the retreat, please?
Yeah, so I kind of had to pick one thing. I will be talking about energy in business. So I work with energy a lot. I love energy. I love spirituality. And for me, it's a fundamental part of business. And it will be going forward, particularly as we are shifting in consciousness, where everything's changing around us massively. And I think a lot of businesses, particularly people who've got the sort of like spiritual leaning and energetic leaning, a well-being leaning, being able to really incorporate energy within the business is going to be vital. And I know from personal experience, costing me quite a lot of money over the recent few years, that we can follow strategies and we can follow blueprints, but if we are not aligned energetically, it just doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So what I will be teaching, educating, helping people with is understanding how their energy impacts their business, how to create an amazing relationship with your business, because you are in a partnership with your business. It has its own energy, it has its own frequency, and we need to be working in harmony with that energy rather than just expecting our business to be a thing that we do and supplies us with money when we demand it.
This is absolutely perfect. Most of my listeners know I mention this S word a lot, synchronicity, and literally just listening to what you're sharing, I've got goosebumps already. And anyone that does EAM, we all know that the goosebumps are telling us, yes, it's working. The energy already is just fantastic. My crown chakra's just started as well, which is another way of telling me that this is special, what you're sharing. And it is, just to say to the listeners, so many people don't mix business and spirituality together, but it goes hand in hand. If you're not right in yourself and your energy isn't aligned, your business can't work. And I say time and time again, like attracts like, which is why you and I are actually having this conversation, because we have so many synergies and synchronicities in areas that we can actually help each other and grow and actually help the audience members. So with that, I know where I think you sit, but just if you can share to the audience, would you say you offer business, spirituality or wellbeing? Where do you fit? All three, just one, or a couple?
all three rolled into one. So I've got a long background in holistic therapies, holistic health, working with energy. I'm passionate about people not burning out. So I'm a qualified chronic fatigue recovery specialist. So the well-being, your business won't function if you're not looking after your own well-being.
Yeah.
So I'm everything.
And with that, I totally agree, because where my listeners will know from the Serenity radio show I do and from the podcast, I had a corporate background, and I got to the stage I literally wore myself out. I was consulting for large blue chip companies. You go flat out to do as best you can, and then suddenly it hits you, you get a cold and it lasts a few weeks longer than you expect it to. Or I used to do I'm in the Midlands, and I used to do the run down to London and Westminster every day. So I'd get up at 3:30 and I'd catch the 6 o'clock train, and I'd get home about 11 o'clock at night. I'd be the first in that office and I'd be the last to leave. And you get to the stage, I'd be lucky if I was getting 4 hours sleep a night. And you think, oh yeah, everyone used to say you're like Mrs. Thatcher. And I'm thinking, yeah, but I need to stop sometimes. And suddenly you have to hit the brakes. And probably the experience I've just shown you is the perfect client for what you do. Could you talk us through things? Because there's going to be a lot of audience members listening to this and thinking, yes, I can relate. How can we help? And it's probably things that you're going to share on the session that gives them little tasters of how they could start to implement and how they know they need to reach out to you and connect and work with you.
So there's a very, very particular personality profile of people that get burnt out. Laid back people do not burn out. So it's a high A type personality profile, people who are very driven, very motivated, just like you, pack into a day what they think is normal, and then everyone else is going, oh, how do you do that? Highly sensitive, very often a people pleaser, don't want to let anybody down, and sometimes feels like a fish out of water. So you wrap all of those things up, and not having the time to listen to your body, not having the time to listen to those little nudges. So when your body's kind of going, oh, just give me a break, but you're too busy. So you keep pushing on through. And I think, Pearl, you were great because you obviously got out before your body went stop, but very often the body just goes stop. And I have a 23-year-old son who's currently in a burnout phase. I've seen it coming for 5 years, but of course he had things to do.
Yep.
He wasn't going to listen. And mum's warnings were falling on deaf ears because he was too busy. He had too much to achieve. He'd got things to go for. And it's just kind of, now he's recovering. So my biggest thing is, recovery is totally possible. So even if people are completely burnt out, recovery is absolutely possible. But stop before you get there, please.
Yes. Yep. And I can relate to all of that, because when we say yes, my body did actually say stop. I was in communication strategy for the Home Office, the UK government, and I started with a cough and I just couldn't get rid of it. And I was off for 3 months, 3 lots of steroids. It went to my chest. It became pneumonia. I got laryngitis. I couldn't speak properly. And literally, I'd get up in the morning, and if I could do 2 hours before I needed to sleep again because my body needed to recharge, I was lucky. And I was contracting. And for a contractor, if you don't work, you don't get paid. You get paid for a day's work. Yes, they pay you well, but likewise, if you're not earning, you get the added stress. You've got to get the money in. You've got to get the money in. And everything you've described is me to a T. But I don't need to tell you that because you've probably already seen it.
And I think it's so important that people understand that self-care is not selfish. It doesn't matter who you're looking after, what you're doing, what your job is, what your responsibilities are. Self-care is absolutely vital, because if you're not caring for yourself, you can't care for anyone else properly anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where so many, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I know my journey could well be similar to a lot of people, because I knew I couldn't go on anymore. I looked for something else, and that's where I started my spiritual journey. That's where I looked to work with energy, and realised that's where I should have been in the first place, because I don't fit the corporate mould, because I'm too bubbly, and I still always I care for people, that people pleaser thing. And a lot of corporate people, they don't want to think like that. It's just get in, nose to the grindstone, and just work, and they don't put people's feelings or care or anything. When you see someone coming to you as burnout, where do you bring the energy? How would you introduce it into a client relationship, client coaching?
It will depend on what stage they are at. So very often there are, particularly with burnout, there are a number of contributing factors, but you're absolutely spot on. Being in the wrong job, classic. Yeah. Being in the wrong relationship, another big tick box. Adverse childhood experiences very often have a part to play. So we kind of look at the whole big picture and then go from there. But I bring energy in very early, because I just can't help myself. I know that everything we've experienced is held within our energy field. Our body is merely reflecting what's going on in our subconscious, in our energy. And I think, with a number of people running their own businesses as well, it's can be just a bigger problem. And this is where not being in alignment comes in, but also that kind of pressure of, I'm running my own business, I've got to keep the money in, I'm responsible for everything. We also have to kind of go, actually, I'm also responsible for my self-care and taking time out. And that's when we get our intuition and our creativity, is when we step away, not when we're attached to our keyboard all day, every day.
Yep. Yes. And I say to the listeners, this is gold dust. It really is. It's absolutely wonderful. And I say to all of the listeners, pen and paper ready, because the nuggets you are sharing are absolutely wonderful. And something I'm going to bring in now, would you say that COVID has impacted on your work, in that you're probably seeing more because the stresses of what could be happening in people's work life and what's going forward? Is it bringing a lot of people to your door?
It is. And I think my concern is that there's going to be a lot, it's not a concern, but for the people, there's going to be a lot more, because so many people are, if they've had to kind of suddenly start up their own business, and that pressure of creating a new business or having to do a full pivot on whatever your business was, that creates a lot of added stress. I think there is quite a lot of evidence of people who have had the condition and got post-viral fatigue. Chances are that those people were in the denial state, so they were in the pre-fatigue state. There's always a tipping point, and this may well have just been their tipping point rather than something that comes after the virus. The jury's still out on that, but I suspect that it's the tipping point for a lot of people. And yeah, there's a lot of pressure, and we have to deal with it. We've got to process it, and we've got to look at the energy and release some of the trauma, and the fear and the anxiety, because that's not helping us have nice aligned businesses.
I look back to when we went into lockdown in March, and I spent most of the time watching the TV and watching the news, because I'd worked with most of the people that I was seeing on the TV, so to me it was very personal, and I'd listen and I'd worry. And I think I said earlier, if I got just a scratch of a cough, I think, have I got it? And I'd worry, and I'd think, no, I've got to wait 2 weeks. And then suddenly I thought, no, stop. I do digital communications. I've got all these skills that I can help people build their business, because so many people are going online and don't fully understand it. Yes, we understand social media because we're all doing it as a personal level, but actually doing that on a professional level to build your business and grow is a completely different matter. And that's when I thought, no, I can help people. And I've started to branch out. I've got the radio show that I do, and quite a few of the people that we both know, like Stephanie Thompson, she's gone on to do the radio show as well. And again, it's using those skills we've got now to grow. But it is, and also this is why I've set up the retreat, because I don't want everyone, all we hear when we see the news is doom and gloom. These businesses are closing, that's closing. But for every recession there's ever been, there's always been people that have done well. There's always been people that will grow. And this is why I want all of us to come together and share positivity post-lockdown, so that, yes, the new normal is completely different. I think, I don't know if you'd agree, but I think the next 18 months, 2 years are still going to see us working from home where needing to. A lot of businesses will see that digital is the way to go. It keeps people safe, but they can still keep their overheads down. So in that respect, yes, definitely going to be like that. And again, this is where your skills, and I say to the listeners, no matter where you are, if this is going to be the new norm, the skills that Sue has is going to help you in every way possible. Just listening to her and actually putting those coping mechanisms in place before it happens, or actually seeing what those triggers, those warning signs are. I mean, is there anything you could share with the listeners that we could maybe see? Like you said, most of us get too far past that tipping point, but are there any triggers that we should be looking for now so that we know how to cope and use that energy, spiritual side to counteract any of the negativity that we've seen recently with COVID?
Well, I would say turn the news off, don't listen to the news. Stay away from all the fear mongering, and do whatever you can to relax your body. So whether it's meditation, gentle exercise, yoga nidra, all of those sort of self-supporting things, we need to allow our body time to switch off. So the body needs to settle. It needs to come out of its adrenal activity. It needs to come out of its fight and flight. It needs to be able to relax and switch off. I would kind of tune into your body and be aware of little niggling things. So if you have recurrent symptoms that come up, if you quite often need to retreat to bed for the whole weekend just to be able to cope with the next week, then listen in, because your body's giving you a big sign. If you're using copious amounts of coffee to get through the day, because otherwise you haven't got the energy, think about what you're doing. If you're using copious amounts of alcohol to switch off at night because you need to relax and you can't relax in any other way, then, I'm all for a glass of wine in the evening. But if you're using it for different purposes, then that's another warning sign. Energy drinks, if you're relying on those, if you're screening calls because you haven't got the energy to talk to somebody, these are all little warning signs on my tick list of be aware, because you're not listening to your body. And if you're not really enjoying your work, that's another big one.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it would be lovely if we could say that everyone currently loves what they do. That's not true for everyone. I mean, we're lucky. We love what we do. I can see just listening to you in your mannerisms, and the audience, the listeners will see you've got that passion. You love what you do. So do I, and it comes through. But maybe we're some of the lucky ones. But it's actually showing people how they can grow like that. Now, where you were saying the work that you do, and we've mentioned energy alignment method, do you bring that into a lot of the work that you do with your coaching?
I do, because I love coaching. Yeah, I've been a qualified coach for a number of years, but there's no amount of coaching that can get into some of the deeper issues. And because I work very intuitively, I will just get something that pops into my mind and I'm like, oh, we need to be working on this. So, I always think coaching's amazing, but if somebody's got an issue that's actually stemmed from birth or the time they were in the womb, coaching's not going to get that out because it's not in our conscious, it's buried in our deep subconscious. So I use a lot of EAM, a lot of intuitive work, tuning into what people might not be bringing into their work that they're hiding from, or sometimes hiding from their gifts, not bringing them in. But yeah, we can't beat a good sway when you're doing some coaching.
Definitely, in that respect, completely agree. And this is where I think that business and spirituality blend so well, because you can still be a good business owner but also be looking after yourself and keeping heart and mind happy. So it's all synchronicity again. So it's synchronized and you can work forward. And you also, I do a lot of work with law of attraction. And with that, like attracts like. So your business is going to grow because you're on a high vibration and you are attracting those people that align to you and can understand that. But it's also, I was speaking to Beatrice Marcoux earlier, because she's going to be, she's going to be an exhibitor as well. And I mentioned to her about inner child work, because I think this is where EAM is so good, that you can go back and look at your timeline and see where things have happened and put it right as such. Would you agree? Maybe you understand EAM more than I do, so you can probably put it in better words than I can.
I love inner child work because, we all have this parts of us that are kind of stuck at certain ages. In fact, I was working with somebody this morning and there was a pattern of behaviour with her and her son. And we then talked about how he came into the world, and this pattern that goes on between them, it completely reflects his entrance into the world and the whole birth experience. And it was just, and it was something like, this is so obvious, this pattern, and it's impacting her business as well. So inner child, going back, digging a little bit deeper and resolving those issues. So it's not about managing them, it's about releasing them, resolving them, getting them out of your energy.
Yeah. And actually, I've just had a nudge literally whilst you've been saying that, where you said about I have almost those classic symptoms for burnout. I just recently, I've been told that I need to do inner child work. It came from so many, when you get these aha moments and 5 different people say, oh, inner child, or there's something going on. And then they said I had to do heart work. Now, I'd say I'm a heart centre person, and I give and I give and I give, people pleaser, like you said. But do I love myself? That's the hardest thing. And I wonder, do they go hand in hand, almost, the people pleaser and needing to do the inner child work, because you learn to love yourself because you're so busy trying to help everyone else?
Yeah. It's all wrapped up in a lovely parcel together.
And it is, I say to the audience, this is where Sue can help you. I'm probably hitting so many nerves with the audience, and the way that you're describing ways that we can help. It is, and I just say to you, with all these podcasts, we always add the links to how you can reach out and connect to Sue. And obviously we want you to be there on the retreat so you can actually learn directly and ask Sue questions and see what it is she wants to share. But there's definitely areas that each and every one of us can learn from this. And just to ask you, I can see your passion, like I said. If you could name 3 things about the work you do, what are the 3 main areas that you love to work in? I've thrown this one at you. I do apologise.
So for me, I guess it's the thing that lights me up most of all is transformation. So being able to empower people to transform themselves. So I'm not about saving, I'm all about empowering.
Yeah.
So it's empowering, it's spiritual growth and development, and energy in business.
Yeah. Oh, that is good. Yeah, I love that. And it is. And this is when you know someone is truly passionate. Yes, you thought about it for a while, because I came left field, because normally I prepare certain things and I threw that in. So I apologise. It just felt right to bring that question in. But your passion came through straight away, and you could give me 3. It's when you get someone and you ask them that. And I'd say to the listeners, if you're looking to work with someone and you say, what is your passion? If they can't tell you, they're not the coach to work with. You need the people like Sue that can actually tell you. The passion comes through, and you can see where the values are, the key values, and what they teach and what they run their business and their whole life on. And that's a definite. And the only way you're going to do this and actually learn from Sue as well, I say again to the listeners, you sign up and as the attendees, so you get to hear all the wonderful, wonderful knowledge that all the exhibitors are going to be sharing. And even after the event, even after the 5th and the 6th of September, all the sessions that the exhibitors have run will be available for a whole month afterwards. So you can catch the replay, you can see, you can reach out and see, because there's going to be a lot of people there at the event, and you don't always see that person live. So we can connect and see afterwards and watch at your leisure and see. And also there might be something that you've missed. Like even through this podcast, you'll listen, and then each time you go back to it, you find something else. There's another nugget that you haven't necessarily picked up the first time. And also that goes to the energy side. When are you ready to receive something? You might not be in the right space to actually hear the message you need to hear until later on. And that's where Sue can really, really help you. What I will do now, I'm going to draw it to a close, because otherwise we're going to be talking forever. But again, Sue, can you just remind the audience exactly what it is you are going to share at the retreat, so they know? I mean, you've got such a wealth of knowledge. It's wonderful. But exactly, so they know when they fill out as an attendee, they will tell me the areas that they want to see on the day. So I want to put the right attendees with the right exhibitors. So again, can you share exactly what you're going to be sharing at the retreat, please?
Yep, I will be sharing how to build and grow an aligned, abundant and successful business with your energy and without burnout.
Absolutely fantastic. And it just leaves me to say thank you, Sue. It has been a pleasure, and I cannot wait to see your sessions on the retreat, and also to let the listeners know there is going to be a video recording where we talk about other areas coming up shortly as well. So look out for that. So thank you, Sue. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. It's been wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Pearls of Wisdom podcast. We hope you have enjoyed the content shared. Please share with others who would like to enjoy these interviews and discussions. If you would like to support the podcast, please follow the link in the episode description. If you want to be a guest on the show, reach out and let's discuss next steps. Until the next time, enjoy your listening.